Alright, so we are now recording for YouTube. We're going to be playing some Dimir Shadow this first league here. Trying out Psychic Frogue without Murktide. So, you notice, no Murktide. We got the Nethergoyfs instead. I'm a really big Nethergoyf believer, especially with like this Bauble Street Wraith package that I've had with Tamiyo previously. But the idea here is I want to see if Psychic Frogue has some legs on its own, or if it's only good if you have a combination with Psychic Frogue and like Murktide. Because if the Psychic Frogue's good on its own, then I kind of want to play Nethergoyf over Murktide at the moment. But if Psychic Frogue is not good on its own, well, then I'm at least personally probably cutting the Murktide Murktide Psychic Frogue package altogether. The rest of the deck, like the core, I really enjoy the 4 Preordain, 4 Wraith, 4 Bauble, Counterspell, Stub, Thoughtseize, all the normal, like, shadowy targets. In the sideboard, trying out Spreading Seas over Harbinger or Break the Ice. The reason for Spreading Seas, or the reason for no Harbinger, is the basic Swamp has screwed me over so many times that I really just like hate playing it. Break the Ice with 4 main deck blue sources that don't produce black, the 2 islands and the 2 Sink into Stupors, isn't the worst because you don't have to cast Break the Ice on turn 2, but it's definitely a consideration. So I wanted to try out Spreading Seas, see if it got any usefulness here. Otherwise, Deluges, Consigns, Nihil Spellbomb. You've seen this stuff before. It's nothing new, nothing exciting. Let's just go ahead and hop in and see what happens. Get it? Hop in. Classic. Let's see. Got a couple lists to look at. So this is the list with Phoenix. Detectives, Phoenix, Stalactite. I think Stalactite Stalker is an unplayable Magic card in Modern, but that's just like personal grudge against the card. The Grief package in here is pretty cool. I've seen a lot of people really hyped about Flare and Flare of Malice. So, yeah, for me, like, I would like to find room for some number of trolls. Again, I just think, like, that card is almost an auto-include with the Phoenix, just so you don't have to worry about having the Bestow available. I guess, yeah, I don't have Force Negation in this build, so I don't have to worry about holding up Street Wraith here on their turn. Any chance to play both Tamiyo and Frogs, cutting Stubs and Drowns? I mean, you could, but, like, Drown's really good. Stub's really good. What's it called? Why can't I think of the name? Solitude's at, like, a pretty low point right now. Okay, so I've got a Counterspell on top. I want to keep that, so I'm just going to Flooded Strand, pass, draw into the Counterspell, and then decide if I want to, like, cycle into something, if I need to find some piece of interaction, or try to find some piece of interaction. If not, I can just fetch up a Undercity Sewers here. Esper Shadow win. Ranger Captain's never good. Ranger Captain's like the card some people play at their F&M, and it does well for them, and they're like, oh, this is it. This is the answer. This is what I've been missing all along. Alright, so opponent bend a 1 ring, which would lead me to believe they probably have a counter spell here, or another 1 ring in hand. So I think I'm going to lead with Thoughtseize, see if we can eat a counter spell. I could lead with Preordain and like try to bait for the Thoughtseize, but I don't think there's a chance that they ever counter the Preordain. So Invert Polarity, Galvanic Discharge, Flage, Verdict. Am I just taking the Polarity so I can try to like guarantee I get down a Frog next turn? This island not looking too friendly with their flages. So I could take Invert Polarity. I could take Supreme Verdict. I guess I'm going to take the Polarity because I do need to get a white source off this Arid Mesa, which means they can't cast Verdict yet anyway. So let's take that. Go ahead and cycle some Wraiths just in case I find like another Thoughtseize here. Nothing opponent's doing that I care about, so... yeah, we'll keep a big Nethergoyf. Sounds reasonable. Now we've got 3 threats to deal with, or to try to fight through this Supreme Verdict. Nethergoyf means Ranger Captain's actually good and it hoses Storm. But okay, so this is one of those cases of like, you hose Storm with Ranger Captain. You hose Storm by just being a shadow deck with blue. Like, you don't need more tools against Storm. You're just running, like, Thoughtseize, counter spells, Death Shadows. Like, the rest of it is very, very unnecessary, I promise you. Wagner, what's up? Alright, let's play out our Nethergoyf. It does dodge Galvanic Discharge here. Dodges Flage. They could Supreme Verdict it, but then we just follow up with like a Psychic Frog. That's not the worst deal in the world. But yeah, since we were talking about Tamiyo and Frogs and cutting Stub, like Frog enables Stub, Nethergoyf enables it, Shadow enables it. So like there are a bunch of ways to get Stub online pretty easy. Lage. So they are targeting the Nethergoyf with Flage. I think I'm just going to let them have this. Kill off the Nethergoyf, and I'll play out like a Psychic Frog here. That way they've got to decide between like Wrathing and getting back Flage. I'll have Counterspell up if they do end up finding the land for the Flage. Stub's a pretty good pickup. So here's a Frog. If they go after the Frog with a Flage, I'm probably just ditching like Dismember, Stubborn Denial, keeping my Shadow or keeping my Frog around. So let's discard Dismember. Discard Stub. The Froggy lives. Stub, I think, kept Shadow playable for a long time. Stub, I think, is like still pretty good. It's not as good into like Nadu, but or Nadu, or it's okay into Boros. Depends on the build. All right. Do I want to play out another threat? I don't think I do. I will draw a card off Bobble in case I find like another counter spell. But I think I'm just like passing turn, letting them do whatever they're doing. False was a good card to pitch. Looks like the verdict. Yep. Monumental Hinge. So Shadow. Shadow. Blooded Strand, go. I don't want to crack my fetch just yet because I need the Revolt in case they have the Flage. Now, what are they planning here? They do nothing. They don't even, like, use the hinge there. Like, why are we not even using the hinge? Alright, so this is Flage. If this is going upstairs, I think I'm just leaving it and planning to Fatal Push. Just in case they have a Solitude. I'd rather hold on to the counterspell. They're going to go after my Shadow. Smart. Smart. I don't think they run Force Negation. Fair enough. We'll see what we would have drawn. More shadows, more counter spells. Alright. Okay. So we got spell bombs coming in. Drown looks pretty bad in the face of Flage and bringing in our spell bombs. I like Flusterstorm in the matchup. Spreading Seas is actually not bad for shutting off like red and white sources. I might consider that one. Yeah, I know Force Negation's opposite turn. That's why I wasn't waiting until my turn to Fatal Push. So if they had Force Negation, they wouldn't be able to force on their turn with only one blue available. I guess I should have clarified that at the time, but whoops. Trim a push and a Wraith. Consign. I don't know. Well, we did see the one ring, actually. So Consign looks a lot better at stopping like a Flage ETB, counters the one ring. If they're running Snapcaster, counters that ETB. But I don't think I want like a bunch of them. I think I'm just going to bring in like one over another Wraith. So I do think Wraith is really good in this matchup, surprisingly. Because like they're not a bolt deck. They're not really a bolt snap bolt deck. So you don't have to worry about lowering your life total too much. And Wraith lets you get out of like Galvanic Discharge range. Thought you were saying I don't think they run forces and you can run it out. Nah. I was just thinking like, I don't think I have to worry about them countering this on their or on my turn if I just use it on their turn. Like I said, I don't think they run force anyway, so it probably shouldn't matter. It's a lot of fatal pushes. No. Alright, Nethergoyf's not bad, but I do need more lands. Lands equal good. No lands equal not good. I've run the numbers. That's what they've told me. Wait for them to surveil to use our Mishra's Bauble. Celestial Purge. Okay. Alright. Fetch land off the top here would be absolutely fantastic. Fetch land. Got the counter spell for this. I guess like invert polarity is probably a good signal that this is definitely Jeskai control and not like any sort of Wizards variant. Even though the One Ring probably gives that away too. Can't see card number 8 in your hand with the screen set up. How about... Alright, should be to the edge now. Land. I hope you weren't a turn too late. I think I have to pass here in case of the One Ring. We're not in a bad spot if I can find like a few more lands here. Fatal Push does look a little awkward. I'll probably trim another one if we go to game 3. It's kind of one of those things. I should have definitely trimmed Dismember since it doesn't kill Flage, but I wasn't sure if they were just like straight Jeskai or if they were Wizards or... Let's get in Undercity Sewers. You got it. Yeah, we'll take another Thoughtseize. Be solid if they have like a counter spell, One Ring, land, something. They're just all on some Wrath, say. Am I taking Dress Down as like their redraw? Yeah, just take the Verdict. They might fire off Dress Down here. Oop. At least I have the stub if they top deck a ring right there. Shadow. Alright, so they can Mystical Dispute by spreading seas. But that does grow my Nethergoyf. So I guess we'll just go ahead and start, like, fighting through some stuff. Yep, you got it. Now we've got a ferocious Nethergoyf. Could you check this list? It's a new format that I created. I think I'm just going to have to, like, start fighting through some removal. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I hope they didn't misclick. I really hope they didn't misclick there. That would be like they were trying to F6 and accidentally hit concede. I'd feel horrible if that's what happened there. Maybe they had something to do. Easy streamer win, am I right? Son, what's up? Alright. Can you check out this new list? It's a new format that I created with my friends. It's modern without Lord of the Rings and Modern Horizons. I would like to have the one-of creature to have some grind, but I can't choose one. Maybe Fairy Mastermind. So is this like Doomwake's format or whatever? How many cards is this? 19, 23, 32, 42, 46, 60. So you wanted the one of Dread Knight for some grind? I think I would probably drop the Dread Knight and just go back to like a Grist. Because if you're invasioning for 1 or 2, there's basically never a time that you want to get Dread Knight when you wouldn't just get another Tarmogoyf. So at least something like Grist gives you a tutorable removal spell if you want it. Also really good as a grindy card. Oh, you're right. You're right. Grist is Modern Horizons, isn't it? Alright. If not Grist, maybe like a Dark Confidant, since you don't have to worry about Bowmasters or Ren and 6 ping. I can see Dark Confidant being pretty good. Like, I know you have Street Wraith, but still, everything else is 2. Yeah, good hand on the play. Paid actor, 100%. 100%. No argument. Dark Confidant's good, but is it human? Does it matter that it's a human? Was that in the rules? Did I miss that one? Yeah, we'll take a Street Wraith. That means we can get Nethergoyf up to a for sure 3/4. If we Surveil, we could get it up higher. I honestly never noticed that Invasion said non-human. That's kind of funny. Huh. Things you learn. Caustic Bronco, there's your answer. Here's your power crept Dark Confidant. I kind of want Preordain. But at the same time, it does just, like, grow Nethergoyf. So... well, sometimes you get the best of both worlds. We're just going to jam both of these out. Got another fatal push. Gross. Get out of here. Get rid of Soul Spike. Nethergroid stub up seems good. It's fine, but like I didn't want to use my stub because if this is Necrodominance, then I didn't want to use my stub until I had a chance to stub the Necrodominance, which is what it looks like it is. So if I wasn't going to use my stub on a fatal push anyway, why not just run out both of the Nethergoyfs and say like, hey, here you go. Deal with these. A third copy of Fatal Push. Well, let's take that. Get down our shadow. Sego. Hope you don't top deck a Necrodominance right here. That is not a Necrodominance. Preordain's pretty decent. So let's play that before we do anything. I don't want Psychic Frogue. Because I can always just get back a Nethergoyf here. Another Preordain's not bad, but if I do get Preordain, I can't get back the Nethergoyf. So, what am I exiling to get back Goyf? Sorcery, creature, land is free. And then I have to choose between artifact and instant. So Nethergoyf comes back as a artifact, land, sorcery, creature, a 4/5. So it's not bigger than Shieldred. So I think I am going to take this other Preordain. I attack for 6, put them to 14. They play Shieldred. I go down to 5. Attack for 8, put them to 6. I get back Nethergoyf. I'm dead to a removal spell. Let's bottom that. Oh, Thoughtseize off the top. You were so clutch. You are so clutch. Now we can definitely escape Nethergoyf. I don't know why you would do this right now, because if I find another Thoughtseize, I get to just, like, take whatever you got. I think I will get the Nethergoyf instead of the Frogue. Sorcery, land, creature, get instant. Yep. So one of their last cards is, I'm assuming, a Bowmaster. Their actual last card. Yep. Dismember does not change the clock. So I can just let this go. Let them go to blocks. Yep, and just like get back another Nethergoyf. And that's fine. So land, sorcery, creature, artifact, and Goyf say 2/3 with sorcery creature. No, it's not. Artifact, land, sorcery, creature. I only keep sorcery, so it shrinks to a 1/2 with Dismember to grow it to a 2/3. Alright, then we'll just hold the course. Fair enough. Fair enough. Put a bunch of pressure on the Necrodominance deck and make it so Necrodominance is a bad top deck. Alright. Game 2. Game 2, Necrodominance. Stern Scolding for Dolthy, Bowmaster, Grief. Another one where Spreading Seas kind of looks funny. Like, you can stop a turn 3 Necrodominance. You can shut off like Castle Lochthwain or something similar. Force Negation's not bad. The issue with Force is like you're going down a card against a deck that is aggressively trying to make you go down on cards with like Grief Scam and stuff like that. So if you run Force, you have to like be very okay with the idea that you might be in top deck mode like ASAP. Trim some Wraiths in the face of Bowmaster. Drown's fine. Psychic Frog. Psychic Frog's a little sus. Do I want Psychic Frog? I guess it's only really bad against Bowmaster, so probably. Maybe just trim like a Bauble or a Preordain on the draw. Or just go down another Thoughtseize. Without Necro, they don't have much draw. Well, this one had Castle Lochthwain. So Lochthwain and Necro's a non-zero amount of drawing. can consign counter Necro ability of drawing cards. You can counter the ability going on the stack at the end of the turn, right? Doesn't it say, like, at the beginning of your end step or something? At the beginning of your end step. So yeah, that's a triggered ability that goes on the stack. So you could counter that. Drown not good against Necro. Drown's pretty good against them. Like, they're casting spells early, putting stuff in the graveyard. So Drown just becomes like a counter spell pretty quickly. What I mean, it's actually, can it counter the drawing part of the trigger? Well, I mean, you have to counter, like, the entire trigger, all or nothing. Like, Necrodominance says, at the beginning of your end step, you may pay any amount of life. If you do, draw that many cards. So, at your end step, that trigger goes on the stack. When it resolves, you pay some amount of life, draw that many cards. So, if you just counter the trigger when it goes on the stack, they never pay the life, they never draw the cards. But no, you can't counter, like, after they've paid the life, them drawing the cards. You can't do that part. You have to counter, like, the entire thing, all or nothing. I think I am going to take a Preordain. Maybe they have a Bowmaster. Could mean I just want to, like, Psychic Frog here. But I don't really want to, like, leave myself open to a Necrodominance on 3. So maybe that means just play out a Nethergoyf here. Yeah, I don't hate that. I assume they've got a removal spell for this, but that's kind of okay. I'm just worried about fighting over Necrodominance. I think I'm going to bobble myself here and plan on drawing on their turn. Going for a Fatal Push in response to the bobble for, like, Cling to Dust. Sure. I was going to say, if they decide to go for, like, a Bowmaster on their upkeep, I'm fine with that. Because that Bowmaster's not, like, really impacting anything. Clark, what's up? I was about to make some comment about, like, oh, I'm more worried if they have Grief into Necrodominance here. So, should have just let the, or pass the turn with Counterspell and Stubborn Denial up. Nope. All right. They did have to get rid of a Soul Spike to Necrodominance here. Maybe there's a chance they don't want to go too low. So we'll let them discard. Malakir Rebirth, Lochthwain, Swamp. Alright. Preordain does grow the Nethergoyf. So let's go ahead and cast that. Don't want to bobble. I don't want to push. I'll take a bobble. No, we'll bottom a bobble. Good call. Okay, hit you in the face. Hold up a bunch of counter spells. Consign be decent versus Necro. It also counters Grief ability, shield your trigger, maybe buy a turn versus Necro. You could try it, but usually games don't play out that way. Like, usually you're either aggressively ahead or aggressively behind before any of that matters. Don't really care about Sorin. I think I want to just go to my turn. If they go for like a Soul Spike or something, I can Fatal Push Sorin. Or I guess if they're in step, like I don't even care about Sorin flipping. So you pay the extort. I pay the counter spell. Necrodominance. Extra counter versus grief is a big deal. I mean, is it though? Because like we just got griefed both game and 1 and game 2 there, and still won that game. So but that's like my whole argument for testing out Psychic Frogue a lot more right now is, hey, we're 2-0. Psychic Frogue hasn't done anything. Game 1 or match 1, obviously, like an anomaly. We don't know why our opponent scooped game 2. Can't really control that part. But like that second round, Frog didn't do anything. So based on this like train of games, is Frog doing enough to even matter if it's in the deck? Or would we get the same results without the Frog? In which case, do we want to devote those slots to something more impactful in other matchups? Ooh, back-to-back mono black. Alright. Assuming it is mono black. Do you think I can bait them here? Do you think I can play Watery Grave, Nethergoyf, and have them go for the Bowmaster to ping the Nethergoyf? Like, I'd have to Wraith in response to the Bowmaster, but I kind of think I want to try it. I want to see if I can get them to just, like, waste their second turn playing out a Bowmaster. The Moxfield deck list is being a pain, but I can send the... that also works. I can copy the deck list for you real quick. If anybody knows how to get Moxfield, like a Moxfield extension in chat, I need to do that, but there's the deck list. So they spend their turn 2. We cycle a Street Wraith. They say, oh my god, I march for 1. And we say, ha 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 ha. Approximately like that. Okay. So I would like to not make the same mistake I did last game. And just hold up, stub, and counterspell here. So that if they have a Necrodominance, Grief, Black card, if their hand is exactly third land, Necrodominance, Grief, Black card, I'd be able to counterspell the Necrodominance even through a Grief. Which, you know, might be kind of important. Let's crack in for 2. Dude, Street Wraith with Shadow and Goyf both has gotten me, like, a lot of free blanks on removal spells. I think I'll hold off on the Wraith for now. It'll push pretty good. So let's start with Cycle Wraith. See if they go for a Bowmaster. Do not. Opponent is very disciplined. And I could go for the Surveil and see if I can get another card type, but I think I'm just going to wait. Is this Goyf plus Frogue? It is Goyf plus Frogue. Would you consider a pair of Murktide here? The synergy with Frogue is good. So I've played a couple leagues with Frogue and Murktide, and it's been okay, but Frogue has felt like win more in all of those games. So I really want to try out this league with Frogue and no Murktide to see if Frogue is actually carrying its weight or if it's just like Murktide doing the heavy lifting and Frogue is just like speeding up the clock by a turn and doesn't really matter. I like the Frogue there. Everybody seems to like the Frogue, which is absolutely okay. I'm guessing opponents just got like 3 Shieldreds in hand or something, or they've got Necrodominance and just refusing to actually use it. Grief. I could counterspell Grief. That's probably okay, because I can still answer Shieldred really well. This would give me 4th card type in the yard, so Stubborn Denial would be live against Necrodominance. So sure. Hey look, a Shieldred. I never guessed that was going to happen. I don't know if you guessed it was going to happen, but... So we're going to get Revolt off a Bauble being cracked, Fatal Push a Shieldred, and now we have a lethal attack, and opponent scoops it up. On to game 2. So what do we say? Force, yes. Stern Scolding, yes. We'll try out a Consign. Why not? We're here for testing things. Consign was suggested, so we're going to test it. And I think I might just board out like a Fatal Push. Are they even on Dolphy and everything? I thought they were on like Dolphy and Bowmaster, Shieldred. But if they're not on Dolphy, then I don't think I even want like... They are on a Dolphy and Sorin, so I probably have to keep in Fatal Pushes for Sorin. Maybe cut a Frogue on the draw. Just because I don't want to play out Frogue on turn 2 and go into their turn 3 untapped with potential Necrodominance. And seems decent. So we keep. Not very much I would plan on force negationing, but it's nice to have the option. Alright. So I am cracking the bubble on my turn because they are a Bowmaster deck and I don't want to draw into like having to interact with Bowmaster at a time I don't want to interact. Inquisition. Sure. Assume counterspell. Yep. Okay. What we got? Thoughtseize is a pretty good pickup. Cycle Wraith first. That's a bunch of stuff. They are a little mana locked here. I don't care about Sorin. They're ways off of Shieldred and the One Ring. I might just take Fatal Push so I can try to land Frogue next turn. I'll buy that for $1. Play out our fetch. Probably get a... what's it called? Surveil land. Do I want to be mana efficient? Do I want to be mana efficient? Yeah. I'm going to save some life because of the Shieldred. Might end up having to take an extra hit. I'm also like halfway tempted to just ignore the Sorin. No, just go ahead and take out the Sorin, see what happens if they find the card they need for Shieldred, if they find the land. Force a Necro. So we got Shieldred, a March, and a One Ring versus a Froggy Boy. It misses a land drop. That's huge for the home team. Got a removal spell. Are we thinking of marching? Okay. Are we ditching Watery Grave? Yeah. For 4, so I could ditch my hand to save the frog. And I would deal 1 damage, so I would get to draw a card. I think we're doing it. That gives -4/-4. I get another counter on the frog from that resolving. Oh, frog. Frog. You hoppy little demon. Now, do I have a priority list of what I want to counter versus don't? I want to counter that one. Well, that's a funny one. Frog's great. Frog's great. How was I ever a doubter? I can't believe y'all would let me underestimate the frog. He carries us in all of his ribbity glory. I don't know if I want a second one, but... Let's see what we draw into. Preordain. We'll cast that. Try to find another counter spell of some sort. Push to the bottom. Bobble to the top. See a grief. We do not care about the grief, so... That's pretty good. So now even if they lock the Wayne and find a fatal push, we can stub it. Problem with Frog is if March were pushed, it would have been in a much better, or much tougher spot. Agree with that completely. If that March had been pushed, we would have been pretty out of this game. But I will absolutely say that March was not push, and Frogue was able to convert that little distinction into a victory. So, way to go, Frogue. It's not a Frog problem, an opponent's problem. Also true. Opponent, what are you doing running March of Wretched Sorrow in a Frog meta? But they also could have exiled their Shieldred as well if they wanted to guarantee that the Frog died. So, it's kind of a toss-up there. Like, if let's say our 2 cards, instead of being Drown Fatal Push, had been double Counterspell, would we have saved the Frog at that point? Because we would have had Counterspell for Shieldred, Counterspell for the One Ring, and a couple draws to like try to find something to get out of it. But because Fatal Push was dead without Revolt, and Drown in the Loch wasn't live until the March of Wretched Sorrow resolved, then that was a little more incentive to like ditch both of those. But absolutely could have been the case that those were just like other spells and we didn't discard them. Alright, what are we up against? Boros. Boros Energy. Okay. So the question I have to ask myself every time I play this matchup is, do I want to play out the Nethergoyf on 1 and risk my opponent having a Galvanic Discharge here? Or do I want to play the Preordain and risk them having Amped Raptor into a Johnny? Or do I want to like fetch up a tap Surveil land and try to interact with an Amulet, an Unstable Amulet on 2, and then have any 2-drop creature or like Ocelot plus something? So turn 1, turn 2 against this deck is just always such a gamble of like, what line can I take to try to not have things get exponentially worse for me? And usually the safe bet is whatever you guess is wrong. All right. I'm going to pass with Drown here. I really want to get this Guide of Souls off the board, but if they go for something like an Ajani, then I would like to counter it. Or an Amped Raptor or something like that. I don't care about Flage, but I mean, I'll care about it next turn, but we'll deal with next turn's problems on next turn. Soul's Attendant. Does that mean that they've got... That's got to mean Ocelot, right? Alright, well in here I'll just go ahead and kill the guide. Is this just going to be Shadow Nethergoyf, hold up stub? I guess technically I should have led on Shadow. So if they had a Galvanic Discharge, I could stub with Delirium. Or not Delirium, with Ferocious. But probably not stubbing a Discharge on Nethergoyf anyway. I do need to stub a Discharge on Shadow. Is my headset going dead? Nah, we good. Unstable Amulet. Love to see that. Oh, did they play their land? Yeah, they played their land and then the amulet. Jace, what's up? Happy Sunday to you as well. We're doing a little cooking in the kitchen today. Trying out some shenanigans. Do I want a frog? Do I want a frog? I don't like really want a frog. I'd rather have a counter spell. But at the same time, frog might just be like okay. Because if I get in a decent hit here, play frog, I'll have instant land I can exile plus like 2 or 3 cards in hand I can get rid of. Nah. Okay. I said I wanted a counterspell. I found a counterspell. I don't think I'm allowed to complain. No. I would like to keep my shadow around, please. Please and thank you. They've got Unstable Amulet under... or with Sacred Foundry under Unstable Amulet. They do not have another energy to use the amulet again currently. Ocelot Pride's a pretty good one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's where they'll be at. Interesting. So, if I escape Nethergoyf, I can. I've got instant sorcery land, no more creatures. I could shock in, or bolt in, sink into stupor. Force the block with one of these, like force the block with the cat token. All right, what does that look like? Bolt in to 5. Attack, force the block. But then I'm like locked into killing the Ocelot Pride. Because if not, then they just attack for one next turn and they get to make a token and have more blockers. I don't like this attack with one creature idea. It's like they just take this, or they should have just taken it. Yeah, they Nope, nope. Alright, never mind. They should just take that and, like, not care about... If I attack with both, I feel like that kind of forces the double block. Or not the double block. It forces them to block with something. Alright, well. Stay the course, I guess, at this point. You have Toxic Deluge main deck? No, they're all on the board. All in the board. Alright, so now we can push the Pride, sink into Super, the Soul's Attendant, and attack for lethal. Oop. I think attacking with both the turn before probably would have gotten us to like the same result. Maybe I was being too hasty. Tough to say. Alright. So, Spellbomb for Flage, Stern Scolding for everything in the deck, Toxic Deluge for everything in the deck. Cut back on some Wraiths, cut back on some number of Thoughtseize. I don't mind, like, trimming a counter spell on the draw. Maybe even 2. Or just cut all the Wraiths. I'm just trying to be, like, conservative with life total until I can deluge away the board or something. And then I've seen people running, like, Surgical Extraction against Flage. I'm not a big fan of bringing in Surgical just for Flage, but it's not the worst idea in the world. Okay, so this has also been one of my problems against Boros, is I board in, like, all of these Toxic Deluges, and I just never see them. So... it's like a very risky hand on the draw. I don't have any threats. I don't have any... I've got a Fatal Push. Stub doesn't really matter early on. But this hand is like all about, can I find Toxic Deluge? Skill issue indeed. Just draw better. Draw better, 5-head. Alright, let's go bobble, target myself. I don't want that, so I'm going to fetch and shock a Watery Grave, pass the turn, hold up Fatal Push in case they go for like an Ocelot or something. I can Fatal Push the Guide. If they go for an Unstable Amulet, I can Stubborn Denial. There are alternatives for us to Deluge. Paying life is okay, but second and third copies are as good as dead most of the time. Well, you're kind of hoping that that first one is just an I win button. But, yeah, there's not really a lot of options there, unfortunately. I wish we had some better ones. Alright, so Counterspell is a good pickup. My concern here is if I just like shock in, hold up Counterspell, then they probably just go for Flage if they have one. So I think what I'm going to do is Nethergoyf pass. A little bit worse into like Amped Raptor, but it's big enough to dodge Discharge or Heat or Bolt right now. It doesn't care about Flage, and if they don't do anything, I can just like fetch up an Undercity Sewers and Surveil. Okay. How's Frogue been doing so far? I did have one good game against Mono Black. We kind of had to just discard our entire hand to save it from a March of Wretched Sorrow that we kind of discussed earlier. If that March had been a Fatal Push instead, we were kind of screwed, but it wasn't. So take that with a grain of salt. But other than that, like the other games we've won, we've kind of won, and Frog just didn't show up, didn't do anything. We had something better to do than cast a Frog. Alright. We'll let the Flage resolve. It's annoying, but Flage is a ways off from killing us. And if we can keep them off getting some more energy, then we can get our other Nethergoyf back from this static prison. Preordain does grow the Nethergoyf. Okay. I think I'm going to take the controversial opinion of keeping the Drown in the Loch here. I know that they have a Flage in the yard. I'm kind of going off the assumption that Drown in the Loch is going to counter anything that's not the Flage. And that'll let me save my counter spell for the Flage coming back from the yard. I think I was talking about that with Murmurs the other day, about how like I usually keep Drown in the Loch in against like Flage matchups because Flage, like, obviously really, really good, really, really annoying to deal with, but you do have counter spells and pushes and stuff, and Drown in the Loch being able to answer everything else in the deck that's not Flage is really huge. And just kind of like save counter spells for 2-for-1s. Arena of Glory. Flage numero dos. Okay. That is acceptable. We're going to get back our other Nethergoyf next turn. Don't mind another island. So this is just to keep my other Nethergoyf, so I can stub this, get back my other Nethergoyf, counterspell the Flage that comes back. They're going to exert the arena. Yep. Counterspell the Flage. And opponent scoops it up. Here is the list. I got to figure out the whole Moxfield extension thing, but we'll get to that eventually. Let's start up a prediction. Prediction sounds fun. Go away. Start a prediction. Start. Will we get this trophy? And start. Okay, so should have a prediction live. Will we get this trophy? Or hell no, Mike's a scrub. Both acceptable answers. If you need to see the list to help you decide one way or the other, you got like 2 minutes to make your decisions. Again, we're trying out Psychic Frogue without Murktide because I really want to know if like Psychic Frogue is good enough on its own or if it's only good as kind of a combo piece with Murktide. Even then, I think it's like not anything special. But we did watch Psychic Frogue solo game 2 against Mono Black. So far this league, we have beaten Jeskai Control round 1. But it was absolutely like a game 2 that our opponent was in the lead and they scooped. So I don't know if they had something to do. But we did win game 1 and we were going to get to go to game 3 on the play. Beat Mono Black round 2 and round 3. And then beat Boros Energy round 4. So on to round 5. We'll see what we happen to run into. Get your predictions in. Got about 45 more seconds. Get through with that, and then we'll hop into the last round of this league. See what happens. Maybe we get to see something cool, something fun, something unique and not terribly boring. But the league has been rolling around pretty smoothly, so I cannot complain about that. I like this music station. Alright, about 10 seconds left. We'll go ahead and start finding a matchup. It's going to like pair me immediately and people are going to know what we're up against. Akir coming in with a Twitch Prime sub. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it. Welcome to the subscribers. Enjoy access to all of our sweet custom Death Shadow emotes. Drop a few of those in chat. Enter. I do need to get a new emote done for Tamio. I'll probably go ahead and get one done for Psychic Frogue, even if I don't end up playing it a lot. That'd be kind of dope. You should try the dress down with the Null Drifter list. Well, let me tell you a thing or three. If you hit exclamation YouTube, you can be ready for another frog pun. Hop on over to the YouTube page where I have played dress down with Null Drifter. Whenever the ad gets through, there is a video in there of dress down and Null Drifter. I'll probably circle back around to it at some point, but my personal thoughts on it, and it, again, like, I always have to stress out when people are asking about lists or saying, like, X is working for me, Y is working for me, whatever. If a list is working for you, run the list. Like, don't care what I say, don't care what anybody else on the internet says. It doesn't matter. If the list is working for you and it's winning you games, run that list. For me, the Null Drifter list was a lot of, like, I won games and never cast Null Drifter or dress down. Like, I just won with Thought Seizes and Shadows and stuff like that. And that whole package just did not matter. And so I wasn't, like, too heavily inclined to play it a lot more because it just felt like 7 or 8 cards that were kind of messing up everything else in a good Shadow deck. Pretty easy ship here. That looks better. And we'll just throw back a second Shadow. Like, the problem I was running into was, first off, you, like, never want to tap out 2 lands on turn 2, 3 on turn 3 to go with the Null Drifter or the dress down into Null Drifter. You always want to, like, hold up interaction. And people will say, oh, we'll just wait until later and then play it down. But, like, you're a Shadow deck. You're getting on the board, getting aggressive early. If you wait until later, you don't have the mana to do more. You don't have the cards to do more. So it's a lot sketchier if you keep waiting. And then if you do go for it on turn 3, the Null Drifter attacking on 4 just does not matter. Like, a 4/4 flyer is a 5-turn clock starting on turn 4. So killing on turn 9 or 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, killing on turn 8. The Annihilator 1 doesn't matter. Like, decks don't care about losing a land in Modern or losing some treasure token or something. So it's just like a whole lot of stuff thrown into a deck that ended up really slowing it down. And yeah, that's about the best way I can describe it. Ragioli. I hardly know her. Got a counterspell coming off the top. Ragavan could be like Murktide. Darcy. Go Nethercoif Jen. Goifkun. Okay. Option number 1. Drown and lock the Dragon's Rage Channeler. Option number 2. Attack, pass, hold up, counterspell. Option number 3. Attack, hold up, drown to interact with like Ragavan. I kind of don't mind that. I think that's what I'm going to go with, is just like shock in, attack with Nethergoyf, plan on fighting over Ragavan, especially if they dash it. And like, yeah, they'll get Dragon's Rage Channeler online, but that kind of plays into Shadow a bit. So, and if they go for something else, then I can always go like try to draw and unlock the Channeler and then hold up Counterspell next turn. Fatal Push is a decent pickup here. So I think I'll just pass back. Main deck Blood Moon. Alright. See if we can drown and lock the Channeler. But it lets that resolve. I know they have a Ragavan. Let's assume they have Ragavan, Murktide. Like Ragavan, Murktide, Counterspell. Kind of hoping they don't have Unholy Heat here. Alright, that's a really good start for me. So now if they play a Murktide and I find a way to lose life, I can eat the Murktide with the Shadow. Okay. Come on, fetch land. Preordain. Fire that off. Now we have our fetch land, so we can Fatal Push the Ragavan. They have the Spell Pierce. Okay. Does it matter if I put them down to 1? I have nothing I can get off of the Polluted Delta that grows the Nethergoyf in the main deck. So I don't really need to worry about going that route. I don't know if I want to fetch and shock yet. I can wait and see what they do. Cool. Up a game. Just 4-0 up to this point. A little upset by that. It's been a weird match. Or weird series of matches. Flusterstorm. We got some spell bombs. Stern Scolding's good. Force, like, isn't bad, especially now that I know they have Blood Moon in the main deck. So it does let you, like, tap out for some stuff early and interact. Got 5 kids today, man. Sitting down for 5 seconds is like winning the lottery. That's pretty funny. Let's see. I'm on the draw. Like trim a drown, trim some thought seizes, maybe bring back in a force. You're about to uninstall Twitter? What? Because I made one comment? Is that why? Or did you say something else controversial? Let's see. Let's go look at Kevin's recent tweets. Oh, because I'm about to 5-0. That's also fair. We don't know yet. Nothing's certain. I have blown many a 5-0 in my life. Not Twitter, X. Ugh. How do we feel about a 7-card hand with no interaction at all? You know what? Let's see how the Frog does. Let's try it out. Uh-oh, we're dead. We're so dead. I am going to go ahead and run out the Nethergoyf. Just because, like, if they have a red base removal spell, I'd rather them just use it on the Nethergoyf now so that I get down the Frog unimpeded next turn. They going for flipping the tomato. They are going for flipping the tomato. Love it. Love it. Such a big fan. Here's a frog. Just hold back the Nethergoyf in case they have like a dashed Ragavan. But them getting that basic island, or do they? Yeah, they just played that out. I was gonna say, maybe it means they have a Blood Moon in hand. Missed attack for 0. Punt. If they have an Unholy Heat here, am I ditching my hand to the Frog? They have like fetch, or no, they can't have fetch land Unholy Heat. They don't have Delirium. Ha 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 ha. They have another Tameo, which looks like they do. Yep. Okay. Let's think about how we want to do this. Pika Penguin, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome Sunday wherever you're at in the world. So I can just like attack at Tamiyo with both. And we can grow to make it a lethal attack. Can we? No, because Goyf can only get up to a 2-3. Hey, sorry to bother you. Well, you are. Go away. I should mod you. Honestly, I thought you were modded. Let's see. I'll have to figure out how to after the game. This is a tough choice. Okay, so let's attack everybody at Tamiyo. Tamiyo is going to shrink things. Discard a land. Discard a Frog. Discard a Force of Negation. Kill your current Tamiyo. Deal some damage to the second one. And do I want to play out the Shadow? I guess I might as well. Like, I'm not really doing anything else. We are down quite a few Magic the Gathering cards, but as long as Frog lives, we can kind of regrow. He says optimistically. Keep the Frog. Unfortunate, but resolves. And rebuy Heat. Keep the Shadow. Resolves. That was your last card of Murktide. All right, so let's go top. Take out Tomato. Play another Nethergoyf. Say go. We've got a Mishra's Bauble off the top that'll grow the Nethergoyfs again. Channeler's pretty good. Hack in with our Nethergoyf. Replay our Nethergoyf. Rid of land, creature, instant, and I have to choose between sorcery and artifact. Okay. Then a spell pierce. Cracking a clue. Bobbling. Okay. Got to attack. I was about to say something about like, oh, preordain would be a really good draw because it puts sorcery back in the yard. Who? If I had another land, I wouldn't complain about Shadow. And I think I'm going to... If they go to crack the Scalding Tarn, I'll drown the Dragon's Rage Channeler. If they don't... I think I kind of have to wait. They see something they want on top. I feel my odds of winning this are pretty low. I don't know anything in their hand currently. Kept another card on top. I'm trying to just like hold out because I don't want to... Don't want to counter if they end up tapping too low. Like, if they find Bolt and Counterspell, there's not a whole lot I can do about it. Mm-hmm. Get an Undercity Sewers. Spin the island. All right. See if we can kill off a Ragavan. I can pay for Spell Pierce. If they got a counter spell, they have to fetch off the Scalding Tarn. About to blow up Kevin's Twitter. About to blow up Kevin's Twitter. Was that a 5-0-10-0? 5-0-10-0 with Dimir. Okay, let's pay out the predictors real quick before I forget that. Manage prediction. We had 0 people vote for non-Mike subscribe. Oh no, somebody did. Somebody did. Just 0% of the total points. That's funny. All right, prediction completed. Let's talk about the deck a little bit. What do we see that we liked? What do we see that we didn't like? Frogue won all of 1 game and all that. Right? Actually won 1 game. We did see it against Murktide after they flipped Tameo and had to discard a whole lot. Somehow ended up salvaging that one, but again, I'm not convinced that like the reason we're winning is Frogue. I think it's just, oh, Frogue is here and it kind of does some cool stuff every now and then. Nethergoyf did look great. Nethergoyf always looks amazing as far as I'm concerned, but I did really enjoy it this league. What else? I think all of like our interaction looked pretty good. I think I saw everything. Like maybe Dismember was the one card that looked awkward because it doesn't kill Flage. So maybe I want to swap out Dismember for like, I don't know, a Bitter Triumph or something. Ranger Captain Esper with Nethergoyf, right? Nethergoyf is that second threat over Angler and Tasker that you really needed. Nethergoyf, like, the reason I think Nethergoyf is so good in these lists, it allows you to play a good proactive threat that doesn't require splashing of green, and you don't have to adjust your game plan for. Like, you can just keep playing all of your good blue-black spells and all of your good shadow spells, and now you just have this secondary card that's like a 1-mana 4/5 or 5/6 a lot of the time. Cling to Dust over Dismember. You could. It kind of depends on how much heavy lifting you think Drown in the Loch is doing. Like, if you think Drown in the Loch's a good removal spell, then I could see swapping Dismember out for something a little more value-oriented. But if you don't think Drown in the Loch's a good removal spell, then I think you do have to have, like, a good number of cheap removal for, like, Nadu and Boros and stuff. Sideboard. Spreading Seas is meh. I didn't see Tron or Eldrazi Tron, so didn't really get to see chances for Force Negation to shine. And I'm still iffy on Nihil Spellbomb. I wish I had a better piece of hate for, like, Flage out of Boros. But gotta live with what you got.